Why, hello, friends. How are we today on this Wednesday, this hump day? What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. We have some Philadelphia Phillies conversation to discuss. Yes. Yes, we do. We have some Philadelphia Phillies conversation to discuss. We got the Sixers tonight. Yeah, the Celtics, they lost yesterday. I see that going on in the chat. They lost to a terrible OKC team, which is an embarrassment. So, where do we begin, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. We begin with a sip of this outstanding, beautiful Wawa Hazelnut Black Coffee. Hello, everyone. Hello. If you're reading this, I need more Joe. If you're a Drake fan out there, you should know what this reference is. How about that? I made it myself. Ceramics. I've explained this before. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Let's enjoy this sip of coffee together. Oh. Oh. Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Now, you know how this normally works. I have my first cup of coffee with you. Well, I can never lie to the people. This is my second cup, so I'm already wired a little bit. I already have some caffeine running through my veins. I actually recorded an Open Ice Hits podcast for all you NHL fans out there. I recorded that this morning before Coffee with Broach with my co-host Kevin Durso. So that was why I had to get up early this morning in the 7 o'clock hour and crush some coffee then as well. So we are ready. We are ready. We are ready. Where do we begin, man? Where do we begin? Let's start off with I see the 6 on the bottom. Yes, that is true. The problem is I think I did it backwards. You tell me. When I take a sip, I think it is 9. Oh no, it's 6, right? For some reason, I guess when I drink it with the other hand, maybe it's 9. Let's do this here. Let's think about this. If I drink it this way, is it 9? Yeah, that's what it is. It's the way I hold it. Because the 6 god, Drake. I don't know. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Not a bad day when the Celtics lose. The Celtics stink. The Celtics are not good this year. The Celtics are not a very talented team this year. All right. I tried to tell people that when we were in the first seed and when the Celtics were in the 8th seed, how many times did I hear, I don't want to see the Celtics. I'm afraid of the Celtics. I don't want the Celtics. The Celtics stink. The Celtics are bad. The Celtics don't know how to play basketball. The Celtics can't shoot. The Celtics are a bad, bad team. They're a bad team. They're a bad team. They're a bad team. That loss last night was a disgrace. That game last night for them was an absolute disgrace. No matter how many games they put on display before that, we'll go through their schedule a little bit and their results, but I'm sorry. They are what they are this season. They lost to the Thunder. They lost to the Hornets. They lost to the Nets. They beat the Suns. They lost to the Bulls. I mean, come on. They're 32-30 for a reason. The Celtics wanted to look like world beaters, getting on a hot streak, and then the Knicks, like the Knicks, only to lose to OKC. Yeah, but even their other games. I mean, people keep talking about when was their hot streak? Let's say it started when they beat the Celtics or when they beat the Knicks. I mean, they beat the Knicks, they beat the Timberwolves, they beat the Nuggets, they beat the Trailblazers, they beat the Lakers, they beat the Warriors. Then from there, you lose to the Bulls, you lose to the Nets, you lose to the Hornets, you lose to the Thunder. They're not good. They're not good. Yeah, they'll be in the the play-in tournament, or whatever the hell you want to call it. The play-in tournament, whatever it is. How far are the Sixers going in the playoffs? I don't know. I don't have that information for you. If they play the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, I can't rule out maybe possibly losing in the second round. I think it's an extremely tough matchup with the way that they can space out the big man, and with Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis. I just think that that's an extremely tough matchup for the Sixers. Now, you could put Ben Simmons on Giannis, and that can totally change the dynamic of what you can do, because they didn't put Joel Embiid. Without Ben Simmons on the floor, you don't really know what you can match up with Giannis and the Bucks. It just changes the whole dynamic of everything. But I'm afraid of the spacing out. I'm afraid of how they're going to spread the floor with Brook Lopez with those stretch fives. That's going to cause this team issues. So I can't rule it out. I can't rule out them losing in the second round if they face Milwaukee, which would be devastating considering their season. That would be a flat-out joke. And that would be very frustrating if they did not make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. This year, it's time to make that jump. This year, it's you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So get there. You better get there. This fan base is going to be pissed. Absolutely pissed. McCutchen, benched for 2 games now. Do you think he starts tonight? Probably. I think Joe Girardi had a comment, and I'll try and bring up exactly what was said. He did make a comment on Andrew McCutchen specifically. So if I go to Joe Girardi, Andrew McCutchen, I don't know if it'll pop up if I type both names in there like that, but yeah, this was 16 hours ago from Matt Gelb. Joe Girardi said that Andrew McCutchen will play on Wednesday. Wanted to give him 2 days to reset. Forecast in St. Louis is not good for Wednesday. Might have to play. There might be a doubleheader on Thursday because they might not get the game in. All right, here we go, everyone. This is what we're going to do. We're going to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Glenn Bowtie Schwartz, to get in on the conversation here. I'm going to type in what town are they? Because sometimes go to Busch Stadium, right? Okay, it is in St. Louis. Sometimes, like, for example, you think of the New York Giants. Well, they're not in New York. It's in New Jersey. So I just wanted to make sure exactly what city I was typing in. All right, so for St. Louis, Missouri, hourly scattered thunderstorms. All right, that's 8 a.m. We need to go to that 7 o'clocker. 70% rain, 66% thunderstorms from 7 to 11 o'clock. Oh, no. Glenn. Come on, Glenn. Don't be hitting me with the bad news, dude. Hurricane Schwartz. So we're going to probably see, there's a good chance that we see some double headers going on Thursday, and that pisses me off. That makes me sick that's what we're going to do. Sick. I hate that. Although then I guess I can put all my focus on the Sixers tonight as they take on the Hawks, and we'll see what they can do. But I'd be devastated, man. I need a bounce back. Last night I was staring at my wall all night long, thinking about how brutal this team was and how bad and pathetic. The best thing about baseball is being able to play the next night so you can shut everybody up, and they're not going to have a chance to do that. They're not going to have a chance. I'm watching West Coast baseball. I'm watching Joey Votto for the Reds get a big hit against the Dodgers. I'm watching Brandon Crawford with a bomb into the water out in San Francisco against the Colorado Rockies in the 9th inning. I'm watching all this stuff happen, and here I am watching the stupid Phillies play, man. They're already frustrating. They're already annoying. They already bother me more than anything else in this damn world. Alec Boehm is on the verge of getting out of his slump. He's been very unlucky at the plate. If he gets hot, the Phillies will get hot as a team. I'm sure of that. I don't know, though, because here's an example of this team. Bryce Harper's been red hot, and their offense still stinks. Rhys Hoskins has been red hot, and their offense still stinks. Gene Segura has been red hot, and their offense still stinks. Now, are you saying that with all 3 of those players keeping it up and adding Alec Boehm, that changes the whole dynamic, and eventually they're going to have to snap out of it? I mean, I guess in theory, yeah, eventually, right? Eventually that is the case, but I do think to a degree there's something else wrong here. There's something else not clicking. I named you 4 guys that have been on a tear, and this offense still gives you 3 hits. And this offense still barely gets you any runs. And this team can't produce anything on a pitcher like Martinez, with all due respect, is not very good. And there's something to this low pitch count, all right? The way that they're approaching the plate, there's something there. Amazing. Vlad Jr. went crazy last night. You think? My man rocks 2 bombs off of, and one was a grand salami, may I add, off of Max Scherzer, and he finishes the day off with 3 bombs. Vlad Guerrero Jr. was insane last night. Now, who brought up Alec Boehm? No, it wasn't Alec Boehm. Oh, it was Martinez. That's what it was. I wanted to look at Carlos Martinez's game log for what he provided for this team. If you go through what he's been this year, he's got a 4.76 ERA and a 1-4 record. He basically started the season off with 5 straight 5-inning performances. So basically what you expect out of Chase Anderson. 6 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs. That was your first 3 outings of Carlos Martinez. 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings, 6 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs. Then he played Washington and had a 6-inning outing where he learned 1 earned run, which is not terrible. Followed by 7 1/3 against the Phillies, 1 earned run, 2 walks. Crazy. It's crazy to think about where these players are when they face the Philadelphia Phillies and how much more lethal they look. Excuse me. Hoskins is now tied with 4. Yeah, Cunha steps in and he hits an absolute bomb. And McMahon hit a late one for the Rockies. I think that one was actually in extra innings. That was the home run for extra inning. He's been tearing the cover off the ball. The Rockies are now 9-14. Did the Phillies wake them up? Another situation where, we had a caller on the Anytime hotline the other day mention that every time he's looking at his fantasy lineup and he's thinking about who should he put in, he looks at who's playing the Phillies. And whoever's playing the Phillies are going to wake up. So if you're playing the Phillies and you're on the Rockies, hey, we're going to put you into the lineup. And now, you see a guy like McMahon, even though he was hitting home runs prior to that, obviously. It's not like all of his home runs came against the Phillies, but he did have some success there for sure. And just crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Here's Chris Anderson saying, I'm curious to see Ben guarding KD in the playoffs. What impact do you think Ben will have if they come to meet each other? I mean, he's going to play hard defense on Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is going to score a lot of buckets, and he's going to score points, and he's a finals MVP for a reason. And I think that Ben is going to have good possessions on him, but ultimately, great defense. Elite offense beats elite defense in this league. So I think you'll have, out of a 7-game series, there might be a game or so where we look at it as Ben won the battle. It's not impossible for Ben to win the battle in a specific game. In a 7-game series, though, I think Kevin Durant in that matchup will win the battle. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Brooklyn Nets would win that series because KD can win that battle, but Joel Embiid could win his battle, and that could be enough, right? I mean, who's going to stop Joel Embiid on the other side as well? So I don't know. I mean, I think that people get blown away or, go too far thinking that, well, because Ben Simmons is an elite defender, he can shut down Kevin Durant. No, you can't. You can't shut down Kevin Durant. You can't shut down these players. You can shut down some players once, like one time. At 7 games, though, these elite superstars take that next jump. Imagine Joel Embiid getting a weak game out there. Let's say, like, for example, hypothetically, and we know that's impossible, but let's say his father, Marc Gasol, is on the other side. And this year's different, right? This isn't the same year we've seen out of Joel Embiid where he's had struggles, but in years past, he couldn't adjust. He wouldn't bounce back the following game. He would constantly continue to get beat down by a Marc Gasol. Let's say he was to get beat by Marc Gasol in a playoff game, game 2. This year, I look at Joel Embiid as a guy that can come in game 3 and counter and make sure that that doesn't happen. So if that was the case with Kevin Durant in game 2, where Ben Simmons might win that battle, in game 3, he adjusts and he becomes that Kevin Durant that we anticipate him being. So, I think that people overemphasize what that means when you see a player like Kevin Durant. That's not Giannis. Giannis is still young. Giannis has not proven himself as a full-on winner yet in NBA playoff mode. Kevin Durant has. There's a different level. There's a different tier. That doesn't take away what Ben can do against a Giannis. It's a freak of nature thing. Not many can do it. It's really wild. You saw Bam Adebayo do it in the bubble and all, and you've seen the Miami Heat put it on display. It's very uncommon for sure. It'll be fascinating though. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. Like, I want Ben to shut him down 5 out of the 7 games, and we look at Ben as, holy shit, are you kidding me? You stopped Kevin Durant? I just don't know if that's possible, man. I just don't. That catch that Brad Miller dropped summarized our defense this season. I think that game summarized the difference in what a good defense. And look, the St. Louis Cardinals have been struggling. There's no way in hell that they are this team that you should look at as, oh, that's what you want to be. But when you watch Nolan Arenado make that play out in foul territory when Bryce Harper popped it up, I believe that was the first pitch too, which stings because it's Bryce Harper's at bat that you just took away from him. But when you see that play, when you see what DeYoung did to Alec Boehm, when you see what Goldie did to JT Realmuto, those are defensive plays. Now, they had an error out in right field with Justin Williams, who had no clue what he was doing, and he had no business being out there on that play. Yeah, he thought he was way closer to the warning track. I mean, come on, he wasn't even close to the warning track. It was such a mental mishap there, but you saw what a good defensive team is. While we're accustomed to watching Didi Gregorius, Reese Hoskins, Alec Boehm at third, which makes plays sometimes, doesn't other times. Your center field debacle with Adam Hazley and Mickey Moniak out there not knowing how to read the baseball, with Brad Miller, with Andrew McCutchen. And I'm not saying that, like, the thing is, I'm bringing up these nice plays by the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are basically a 500 team that haven't been able to get any sort of structure yet, and they haven't been able to really get into some sort of rhythm on who they're going to be. Their identity is still lost, is my point. So just because you have that in place, it doesn't mean you're going to be a world beater and just phenomenal. There's other elements of the game that you need to get better at. Also, though, there's a problem here with this team defense, right? I think we can all agree with that for sure. We better win today. The only problem is Vinny V's pitching. Yeah, well, you have Aaron Nola on the bump tomorrow. So if you win today, and the problem is you might get a Vinny V, Aaron Nola combination in a doubleheader. I'm really disappointed that I can't even get a feel of these games that are 7 innings. It just sucks, man. Those 7-inning doubleheaders, they just suck. So hopefully the weather forecast changes. Let's pray to the weather gods here. Let's pray to Mother Nature, a.k.a. Glenn, Hurricane, Bowtie, Schwartz, that this all goes into our favor here. We get some Phillies baseball tonight. It just doesn't look very promising. Nets clinch a playoff spot last night. Did they? I don't know if it was official or not. I've never worried about when the Brooklyn Nets were going to clinch a playoff spot. That stuff is irrelevant to me when that is. I don't know if you're saying that or asking that. I don't know what statement that is, but do I think that Vinny V took over more starting job? Probably. And here's the thing. I think that he's better than Matt Moore, but I'm out on I'm done with him. So maybe this is me just being a little bit of an asshole, a little bit of a jerk off, which I tend to be. But I do wonder if I feel I'd rather have Matt Moore, who stinks more than Vinny V, just to make a statement that, Vince, we're done with you, dude. Stop it. How many articles are we going to read that he's taking this opportunity and wants to make the most of it? They know, or he knows specifically where he's at in his career, and he's running out of chances, and he's happy to have another chance. I'm done. I'd rather take the worst pitcher in Matt Moore just to make a statement. We're done with you. You stink. We are finished. Done. Over. Read my lips, Vince Velasquez. You're never going to start for the Philadelphia Phillies again. That's the message that I want to hear. I'd rather have worse play than that. And maybe that's me being an absolute ass, but that's how I feel. Trade Kingery and whoever to grab a guy. Trade? No, who wants Scott Kingery? There's no trading Scott Kingery. I've heard that before. Look at that contract. Look at his production. Look at his swing. So many people talk about trading Kingery. Who wants Scott Kingery? I'm trying to find out where this shadow's coming from, by the way. Is it the microphone shadow? No. What is that shadow? Do you see that shadow? What is that? Oh, is it it's my screen? No. Is it my light? No, that doesn't make sense. What the hell is that shadow? Is it my TV? Yep, that's it. It's my Xbox TV that's next to me on my left. Interesting. All right. I want to see George Hill get in the rhythm. I think you've started to see him play a little bit better as of late. No, like you're starting to see him get the rust off. You're starting to see him play a little bit better. I just think in general, you're starting to see George Hill get the rust off of. Keep in mind, man, he had a serious hand injury that's going to limit you. You miss a serious amount of time. And then not only do you miss a serious amount of time, but you're on a whole new team. You're in a totally different locker room. You're learning a whole new system. You're changing where you are. You're playing with Joel Embiid. You're playing with Ben Simmons. You're playing with Tobias Harris. You're playing with a totally different unit. So I think I've seen enough out of George Hill making the steps in the right direction. I don't have any fear, I guess is my point, in what George Hill is going to provide. I think at this point you kind of know, right? You know what George Hill was even prior to the trade. You knew there's a reason why George Hill has been in this league the amount of time that he has been, giving you the numbers that he has been giving you, right? So it's kind of obvious, what you were kind of getting out of him the whole time. I don't know, man. I've seen this get brought up a bunch of times about Cole Hamels, and I think it's a recipe for disaster, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be anything solid. He'll probably get hurt. He's older in his career. How old is he now? He's 37 years old. It's more of it would feel good than it is this is going to help you. And I don't know if I'm willing to go down the road of, hey, it'll at least feel good. It's more of this. It's a good story. Cole Hamels comes back. He's going to stink, and then it's going to suck. Unless you are just going with, it'll be better than Vinny V and Matt Moore. I don't know. Is it? He played with Atlanta last year. He got hurt real quick into the season. And in he threw 3 innings. He threw 3 1/3 last year, and that's all he was able to provide for you at 36 in Atlanta. The season prior, he gave you 7-7 as a win-loss record. This was with Chicago. A 3.81. I mean, I would take, if you told me he gives you a 3.81 and a 7-7 record with 27 games, I mean, I would take that. That was 2 years ago. I would take that. I just don't know if you can rely on that. When you go through a serious injury at age 36, now it's, all right, are you going to be able to get back on track, or were you just, or is it just over? Am I going to watch the NFL draft? Bruh, come on. Am I going to be watching the NFL draft? Of course I'm watching the NFL draft. Of course. What kind of question is that? Of course I'm watching the NFL draft. Who the hell doesn't watch the NFL draft? I have another thing. My friend said that Shaq is the best center of all time. I have Hakeem as the best center of all time. They think I'm crazy for that? No, I mean, it's very subjective, right? I mean, it's all personal preference. There's always a bunch of guys. There's like 5 guys that you can have that discussion with, and then it all comes down to personal preference. So, no, it would be different if you said that Spencer Hawes was the best center of all time while they're throwing out names like Hakeem. But to say that Shaq wasn't one of the most dominant big mans ever, different styles of play for sure. I mean, one man was just this big physical beast, and the other guys had some more finesse in their game and better footwork and things of that nature, while one man was just, you can't stop me with my physical presence. 2 totally different styles of play. But when you look at what they were able to do, I mean, the argument's there for both guys. So no, I don't think that that's crazy at all. It just comes down to personal preference for sure. Brodes, how do you think that we are going to defend the Bucks floor spacing if we meet them in the playoffs? They've really brought Joel out of the paint, and Brooks in the. Yeah, if they have the big man in Brook Lopez and they have Bobby Portis and they're stretching out the floor, you saw a recipe for success for the Milwaukee Bucks. They have the ability to not only space you out, but they have the ability to make you pay when they do it. You need to emphasize defense out by the perimeter. Well, if you do that, that opens up a lane for Giannis. You have Ben Simmons, though, available for this 7-game series that wasn't available for that one game against the Bucks. And keep in mind, that was on the second half of a back-to-back. So you just played the Phoenix Suns before. Now you don't have that. You don't have the back-to-back involved. That absolutely limits you with your pressure. It limits you with your effort. It limits you with your play because you just logged in 30-plus minutes of intense battle going up against the Phoenix Suns the night before. It changes things for sure. It does. So it's just interesting. But yes, that is clearly a concern that I think is on display, and I think it's valid. I think it's very valid to think about what that Bucks team, and I think they're starting to make a push of, you forgot about us? Silly you. Silly you. There's question marks with all 3 teams up at the top. But with the health of the Nets, you don't know what they're going to be. With where the Sixers are, they haven't been able to make a serious push to the Eastern Conference Finals. So you can question if they're ready to do it yet too. And with the Bucks, I just think that they're the most complete team right now. Like they're just the most complete team right now, if that makes sense. And that's no knock on the Sixers, but I do think that based off of where we are today, I think the Milwaukee Bucks are the most complete team, depth-wise and all. They might not have the best player. I might take Joel Embiid over Giannis, and in the NBA, you have the best player. You have the better chance to win. That's for damn sure. But depth-wise, structure-wise, I think there's something to be said about the Milwaukee Bucks for sure. Maybe put a big man in on defense and let George come in and place. Wait, what do you mean here? Maybe put in a big man position on defense. Well, the problem is you can't do that. Dwight Howard would get shredded. You got to put Ben there. Your best option is to put Ben there. And the problem is that'll work in theory. You put Ben at the 5. You bring George Hill to be a primary ball handler. Here's my problem, though. You don't have a stretch 4, right? your stretch four outside of Tobias Harris would be, and it wouldn't be a stretch four, it would just be a power forward to enter the game when Tobias isn't available, and it would be Ben. So now you need Ben Simmons to play power forward, stretch five. I said Ben. Oh, maybe put Ben in. Oh, okay. There you go. I'm bad with that. I do that so many. I don't know why I do that. I do that a lot. So I apologize. I should be better with that. Yeah, putting Ben in makes sense. Definitely. I thought I just said maybe put in a big man. I skipped the whole Ben thing, which is a huge part of that text. So, yeah. The Joe Show says I'm crazy. Why am I crazy? No, I agree with you. That's a good assessment. The problem is though, is I just have the problem then with what do you do at four? Because Mike Scott can't play. And then it goes back to play four guards, where you put in four guards, where you have, four guys out there. You play a little bit more of a smaller ball type of look. It's interesting. I want to know why I'm crazy, though, the Joe Show. Why am I crazy? Why am I crazy? We have Anthony Tolliver, man. It's crazy. Doesn't it look like just an old washed up guy who just worked 9 to 5 is going to play basketball at LA Fitness? That's what I feel like I'm looking at when I'm watching Tolliver. I swear to God. Just that old journeyman who loves basketball so much. He works 9 to 5. He goes to the locker room. He takes off his dress shirt and his tie. He puts on some and one shorts and maybe some old Allen Iversons and a headband, and he goes out there and plays. Oh, not me. The guy who mentioned signing Korkmaz. Yes. That deserves a "you're crazy" statement for sure. I have a bad feeling that Howie Roseman's going to screw up the draft. I think that's how everybody feels. Um, Here's the problem. I just don't even think that he has the say on what's being picked anymore. I think that Jeffrey Lurie has this analytical data where he's just not listening to the scouts and he's doing what the numbers tell him, and then he's forcing Howie Roseman to do it, unfortunately. So I think that's where, and that doesn't mean that Howie Roseman doesn't have some part of that conversation, but that's also because Jeffrey Lurie's the owner, and when the owner wants to do something, you do what the owner wants, or else you are fired. So I think there's a part of that as well. But yeah, at this point, I think everyone's very up in arms here and not knowing how to feel and very all over the place emotionally with the draft. I think you're going to see Jeffrey Lurie make an analytical decision that forces this team to take somebody that has nothing to do with what the scouts say and everything to do with some analytical stuff, which is a problem, though. That's for damn sure. Yeah, you're seeing all sorts of reports on maybe going after some D lineman, going after some defensive end stuff. You're going to see so much bullshit thrown out there to the media. They're trading up, they're trading down, they're doing this, they want this guy. That's called manipulating the media. We already know they do that. They're trying to get leverage in certain spots. Teams are trying to release information that's all bullshit just to get a certain spot out there, get a specific player maybe to fall, maybe for a team to think that there's pressure involved to make a trade, even though they didn't really need to make a trade. So, hey, let's trade from 6 to 4 because we really need this guy, because maybe whoever's selecting at 5 wants them. They're releasing information that they want them, even though they're not, to mess up all sort of draft capital for future years. I mean, there's so much smoke screens in play that I'm not even reading into anything. I'm not falling for anything. I'm not even reading any information about what the Eagles might do. Here's what I know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what they're going to do. Is it going to be Smith? Is it going to be Waddle? Is it going to be Horn? Is it going to be Surtain? Is it going to be a move up? Is it going to be a defensive end? Nobody knows. No one knows. So I don't have any speculation. I have no gut feel. I honestly can't tell you for 1 second how I think this is going to go down. I have no clue. So I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. I have no idea how it's going to go down. I really don't. Do you see Miami prefers Waddle over like, I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that. That's who in their right mind would take Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase, right? Like, that's the type of information I'm talking about where you're seeing this is all bullshit. Like, it's all bullshit. I would be dead before that happens. I swear to God, I would be dead before that happens. Um, but that's my point, is like, that's all the information that is being thrown out there where it's all a joke. Like, there's just no way. I would be stunned if that was the case. And that's where I think you gotta look at all these all these reports that are just getting thrown out there. Brodes, do you think the Knicks are a team to worry about come playoff time? You're going to have to work, like you're going to have to work. You're going to have to battle. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to scratch and claw for sure because under Tom Thibodeau, they're going to make you earn it. I don't think they have enough legit firepower. You can say what you want about Julius Randle, but that's not Joel Embiid. That's not Kevin Durant. That's not James Harden. That's not Giannis. Julius Randle is a nice player. It's a good story. He's added to his game, yada, yada, yada. It's not that. It's not the playoff type of player. Like, hey, if he's it's almost like Tobias, right? If Tobias is your third man, okay, you're good. If he's your second man, you're in a little bit more of a pickle. The thing is with the Sixers is you have one go-to man, and then you have two secondary pieces in Ben and Tobias, where you have two number twos. If Julius Randle is your number two, part of your number two, and you have a player like Joel Embiid, well, it's a different story for sure. I don't look at them as a serious threat. You're missing legit star power. You need legit star power to win with a team. I think they'll be a hard out. They'll be a tough team. They'll fight you into 6 games, maybe. They'll give you that type of work ethic. But I don't think ultimately they have enough to kind of take the throne. It'll be after the season. Knicks fans clap their hands, say thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that work ethic, and we can't wait to see what this means for you building off of it. That's where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, I want to go to some of their stats for their players. If you go to players and you go to, oh man, come on, this Knicks players stats. You know what they have in Julius Randle. Let's see here. He's had I saw people like crying that they have to re-sign Nerlens Noel or they're going to be a problem. RJ Barrett is averaging about 18 points per game. Derrick Rose. Remember we all questioned what the hell they were doing with Derrick Rose? Pretty interesting how that all worked out. We were like, what? The New York Knicks are a team that's going out and making a trade like that to go out and acquire a journeyman point guard? That's pretty fascinating. Alec Burks, high volume shooter, fan favorite here apparently. 12 points per game. Outside of Julius Randle, you're relying on R.J. Barrett. Derrick Rose is similar to George Hill's role, where we were excited for George Hill to be this guy that can slow things down and you can rely on. Well, that is what they have to solidify as like a serious part of their offense, while George Hill is more of that veteran off the bench player. You see the difference in construction here? Their George Hill is a serious piece. That's their number one point guard. Ours is your 6-man, your bench piece, your help piece, more so than your guy. They'll be a tough out. They'll just be hardworking. They'll be hardworking. No, Alec Burks, come on. People, this is the problem. This city falls in love with guys that overboard, like way too far. Alec Burks, you know why people loved Alec Burks? Because Ben Simmons can't do this. Your primary point guard doesn't know how to actually shoot a basketball off the dribble. We watched a guy do something that everyone in the NBA can do. He shoots off the dribble. And he's a high-volume shooter, and he can actually create his own shot. Last year, you didn't have that with the Sixers. No one could create their own shot. You had no one that could do that. So it's, whoa, look what Alec Burks could do. Alec Burks is like your standard guy that shoots a billion shots off the bench. Come on. You're praising this guy like, oh, start Alec Burks. He's the difference maker. No, he's a guy that shoots 3,000 times for 20 points. There's a reason why he's a journeyman getting traded Golden State, Sixers, Knicks, this team, that team. He's getting bounced around for a reason. He's a standard, traditional, off-the-bench, high-volume guy. He's not a bad off-the-bench, high-volume guy, but there's this overreaction of what he is. It's crazy. Crazy. Let's see here. I hate Knicks fans. I would love to trash on them this postseason. Yeah, but the difference is they have nothing to lose. If they lose to the Sixers, it's not you guys suck, you guys blow. If they were to get to the second round and face the Sixers and they made them work the 5-6 games and they just won a series against, let's say, the Atlanta Hawks, and they won a playoff, after what the Knicks have been through, if Knicks fans watch them win a playoff series and then lose to the Sixers in the second round, there's nothing to brag about, right? That's an obvious statement that you know what's going to happen. You know that the Knicks have an uphill battle. The playoff odds would be outrageously in the Sixers' favor. So there would be nothing to really brag about. You handle business. You give kudos to the Knicks fans for taking that step. But, yeah, It says here, I'm in a Knicks versus Nets group. Some Knicks fans genuinely think they're better than us and more of a title contender. Well, that's ridiculous, right? But I would say that if that happened to the Sixers, where if the Sixers had the Knicks run right now, where they had Julius Randle and they had that team, there would be Sixers fans that thought that that would be enough to go win a championship. So I guess I'm not surprised that Knicks fans feel that way. They're riding that high, man. They're riding that adrenaline rush because it's been such a disaster for so long that they're like, whoa, what is this feeling? I don't know how to operate. But when you take steps back and realize you need an actual star to win a championship, Julius Randle is not that. All right. Julius Randle is not that. If Julius Randle was a second or third piece, now you have a constructed team. Julius Randle is not that. And going through his game log, 18, 31, 40, 33, 44, 32, 34. Big difference, though. Big difference, though, when you're talking about playoff basketball, 7-game series, when you're the guy. Let's force Julius Randle to beat us. Good luck getting anybody else going. You don't have it like you can either go one of two ways. Nobody else can beat you, so allow Julius Randle to do whatever he wants, but no one else is going to beat you. Or, dude, swarm Julius Randle and force RJ Barrett, a second-year guy, right? He's a second-year guy at this point because Zion, it was the same year as him. Sometimes I lose track on these guys. Yeah, force a second round guy to try and beat us, or Derrick Rose, or is Elfrid Payton on that team? Force Elfrid Payton to beat us, right? I mean, it's sort of like that. Good luck. Is he still with the Knicks? Yeah, he is. Orlando, Phoenix, New Orleans, New York. It's not the same as. All right, take the ball out of Durant's hand. James Harden. You know? This Phillies team is good, but unproven, lots of holes. Well, isn't that kind of contradicting yourself? Isn't that kind of contradicting yourself? They're good, but they got holes. Well, I mean, if they got holes, how good are they? Right? I mean, they got a mess in center field. 5 players failed miserably. They got a mess in left field. They have a mess in the infield defense. They can't hit. Their pitchers stink, and their back end of their pitchers stink, and their bullpen struggling. So if all of those things are true, how good is your baseball team? Right? That's where I have the problem. Watch the Eagles pass on Smith because he's tiny. And then he ends up tearing it up. Yeah, I agree with you here, right? I think if Devontae Smith is available, you go out and get Devontae Smith. If Devontae Smith is there, go make that move, man. Don't worry about the 166. Don't overthink it. We always worry about overthinking things. Just go get your man. Go get your guy that can ball, man, right? Don't overthink it. He could play. Not that every Heisman winner works out, but a lot of that's the Heisman winners is a lot to do with the quarterback. And a quarterback and a wide receiver are 2 totally different positions. Reading the field as a quarterback and, those traits, those skill sets, those attributes that work in college might not work in the NFL. That's a different conversation. That's a different debate at the quarterback position compared to a wide receiver. Is he sure? Yeah, he's sure. Is he sure? Is he small? Yeah, sure. He's small. But you can always build. You can always put muscle on, especially when you're working with NFL strength and conditioning coaches. And I don't think that would limit him fully. I think you could still get a significant amount of play out of Devontae Smith. Am I selling my mug? What does that mean? My coffee with Brodes or my sports talk with Brodes mug? Yes. This mug here, I made this myself at Ceramics with my fiance. So I don't know which one you're talking about. How are we going to over this is where I think that people are putting way too. Jeffrey Lurie's a problem. All right. If you read any of these pieces, Jeffrey Lurie is the main problem here. So how he's going to do this, how he's going to do that, how he's going to do this. You know why he's doing it? Because of the owner. So the owner's going to overthink this. The owner's going to do something with analytics and not value the scouting department. The owner. Howie Roseman's the puppet to the owner. We all know that. Howie's going to do this, Howie's going to do that. No. Jeffrey Lurie is going to do this and that. And that's the problem. That's the problem. A couple people asking about leading off with Brodes. Leading off with Brodes is on pause right now. That's just some clarification. We're putting leading off with Brodes on pause just a little bit because there's a lot going on right now behind the scenes. We're working on some things, and while doing that, there's a lot of games on, a lot of post stuff that I'm doing. So for right now, leading off with Brodes is is on pause. Just an FYI. I know that there's a bunch of people that have been asking about it. Okay, here. So realistic pick Horn. Realistic pick Horn. Dream pick Pitts. Impossible. Smith Chase, but Horn is good though. Yeah, Pitts and Chase are irrelevant. I don't think Smith is out of the question. I guess it's possible. I think you get more of a chance to land a Devontae Smith than you would a Pitts or a Smith. I think that's like seriously no chance in hell. I would be okay with Horn, man. If you get Horn, that's a solid cornerback that you have. He could play. He could ball. He can help you out. He's a nice, solid pick. You don't have any pieces that are under the age of 30 on the defense that you can really dig deep into and look at as a cornerstone player. You hope that a Horn can do that. So, yeah, I would be totally okay with Horn. We got $2 coming in from Roman Quinn. That's right, Roman Quinn himself. I need more playing time, man. I'm a difference maker. Oh, my God. Thank you so much, Roman Quinn, for the $2. I don't know what to tell you, Roman. You should probably use that $2 to help you get a hitting coach at like a local little sports out. What do they call that place? Sports outlet. Is that still a place? Some batting cages at the local mini golf place. There's a place around the corner from me that has mini golf and batting cages. Maybe you spend the $2 there on a nice session of 10 pitches. See if you can work on some things. Thank you so much for the $2. Roman Quinn deserves more playing time. Get out of here. Your sister's ass. Your sister's ass. Unbelievable. Horn reminds me a lot of Brodes. Yeah, I mean, if you're telling me that, I don't know if you're saying that in a negative or a positive, but I guess people could look at that as like a negative thing, but I'll take that as a positive. I'll definitely take that as a positive. Um, yeah, yeah, it would. The only reason why I say that is maybe because of what happened at the end there a little bit with Minnesota, just a tad, if you will. But there's no doubt earlier with Minnesota, it was in play for sure that he was a little bit more upbeat. I'd say positive. Okay. Okay. You do know what I mean though by saying that because of where maybe things were towards the end of Minnesota, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Did people look at him as not having the same style of impact? But if you look at what he's done to this point, yeah, I mean, if you're telling me you get that type of player for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to live stream the show yet. It'll be, you have to follow me on Twitter at Brodes81. I'll tweet out the stream if I do. I do have some meetings around 11:30, and I do have some things to get done, but we'll see if we can mix in a stream at some point. My sleeper pick for the Super Bowl, way too early for that, man. I'm still thinking about Phillies baseball. We haven't gotten to the draft yet. I'm not ready for super sleeper picks. That's just not where my brain is. I got a lot more to kind of process like who the Eagles are even going to select in that 12th overall pick. Would you trade back into the first round for a wide receiver if we go cornerback at 12? I'd have to see how the board played out, right? I mean, at that point, there's so much that matters. Who's available, what other teams selected what player, diving back into that first round a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it all depends where you fall, where players fall. You know, if there's some guy that slips that much, where it's like, really? He's still available? Can you move back into the first round? Maybe. But there's still a lot of talent at the wide receiver position in the second round that can help you, that can move the needle, that can be definitely a spark plug for your offense. So maybe there's a way that you kind of just stay status quo, get your second piece that you were looking for at the wide receiver position then, and kind of go in that direction. We got a $5 donation. Why are we doing this here? Why are we doing this here? Right? Why are we doing this here? First we get Roman Quinn. Now we're going down this road. I see Vince Velasquez is now in the chat. Why are we doing things that some would say pain. Why are we doing this? Thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate it. Vince Velasquez. I'm actually really good. My offense doesn't help. $2 donation. Oh my God. I don't know what to say. I honestly don't even know what to say. David Hale, yeah, he might make an appearance. Gabe Kapler might make an appearance. You never know. You never know with this crazy chat of you all. Thank you guys so much for the donations. With all jokes aside here, with all kidding aside, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, the thoughts of moving the mound back, any of this, it's all nonsense. What did I see? I saw. Let me bring up this theory. All right, because I saw this theory. Man, what? Let's see. It has something to do with. I know who tweeted it out. So there you go. Here we go. All right. It's basically this: the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Now in the Pioneer League, no extra innings, but home run derby. Each team designates a hitter who receives 5 pitches, with the game determined by the most home runs hit. If still tied after the first knockout round, another hitter is selected for a sudden death home run faceoff. So basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring in a home run derby similar to what the shootout is in hockey. If the game is at a tie, we'll just do a skills competition. We'll just do a shootout to see who solidifies that second point, if you will. A home run, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I just bring this up because of the whole mound, bring back the mound to try and change things. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is stupid. This is dumb. It's equivalent to what we're doing with 7-inning doubleheaders. It's similar to putting guys on second base. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's not making the game any better. It's so ridiculously bad. Each team designates a hitter who receives 5 pitches with the game determined by the most home runs hit. Are you kidding me with that? It's embarrassing is what it is. Pack says, Brodes, I can't believe how many pro athletes come into your chat and donate. It's crazy, isn't it? Not only that, you should see the comment section. Joel Embiid's always there. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's ruin baseball even more. I know. I can't believe it, right? I mean, these people sit around a room and this is what they come up with. Let's do a home run derby with a tie game. This is what I think is crazy. Are they trying to target the people that don't like baseball? The game's too long. How do we make the game shorter? The 9 innings is more of a focus than when it goes into extras. They're focused on, okay, when it goes to extras, how do we condense the game? You're worried about condensing the game through the 9 innings. Most of these common fans that you're looking for, you're talking about 10, 11, 12-inning games. You got to draw their attention in within the first 5 innings. You're so worried about stressing on what's happening in the back end. And here's another thing. If you don't like baseball, you don't like baseball. You don't like baseball. If you don't like it because it's 4 hours, you won't like it because it's 3.5 hours. If you don't like it because it's 3.5 hours, 3 hours is still too long to you. You don't like the game of baseball. It is what it is, right? Nowadays, I think that there's so much involved with a young special talent. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. out there doing what he did yesterday. Ronald Acuna Jr. You got Ozzy Albies. You got Fernando Tatis Jr. You got Ohtani. You got Mookie Betts. You got all these players out there, man, making plays. The game is phenomenal with all this young natural talent. You either like baseball or you don't like baseball. Brandon Workman comes in. I was your best bullpen piece last year. Why cut me? Let's go look at Brandon Workman. I saw Heath Hembree pitch last night, by the way. I couldn't believe it. I was watching Heath Hembree pitch to I was watching Heath Hembree pitch to Mookie Betts. Talk about some Red Sox nostalgia, if you will. But let's go to Brandon Workman. We always like to do our casual Brandon Workman check-in. Sort of like what we do with with Glenn Bowtie Schwartz, right? We like to do the check-in on the weather for baseball each day. Brandon Workman, in his last outing on April 27th in a 5-0 loss, went 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 earned run, but he did walk 2 and allowed 3 hits. Jesus, talk about a nightmare. The night before, he came into the game, 1 inning, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 2 hits, 1 walk. Terrible outing. He did put together, let's see here. He put together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pretty damn solid innings in a row. 2/3, no earned runs. 2/3, no earned runs. 1/3, no earned runs. 1 inning, no earned runs. 1 inning, that's where things fell apart. So 5 straight outings of pretty decent play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, crazy, crazy. Papelbon misses you. You take that off. You take that off. Inside the Bird says, what's up? What's going on inside the Birds? The best Eagles intel out there. That's for damn sure. So if you're not listening to Jeff Mosher and Adam Kaplan, make sure you check out their YouTube page. They do a phenomenal job. That's for damn sure. I feel like MLB The Show will draw a lot of people to watching games. I don't know about that because you don't get MLB The Show unless you like baseball. You're not just some random baseball guy. There might be a few random here and there that just switch the game up, but for the most part, if you like baseball, you're buying the game. If you don't like baseball, you're not buying the game. So there is definitely two different parts to that. Not that this is on the same exact topic of this, but it's crazy. When I watch the Nationals play, because I saw them play a little bit yesterday when I was flipping through my MLB TV, to think that they ever won a World Series is actually pretty damn wild. I'm not going to lie. Like, in what universe did the Nationals win a championship? In what world? And it was an amazing ride, and they deserved it. That season was special. They had everything clicking. You question their bullpen. They put Corbin out in the bullpen. They made it work. Steven Strasburg, amazing. Anthony Rendon, electric. Juan Soto, Suzuki stepped in for his magnificent. Everyone had a role. Not Suzuki. I was thinking of Kendrick, excuse me. Although Suzuki was a piece to that, but he stepped up, and every year there's that guy that you think about. The Red Sox had that guy. For the Nationals, it was him. It was that guy. It all clicked. But damn, man, you watch this team now play. How the hell did they ever do it? How did they get through that? It's crazy. It really is. Brogdon is heading into Workman's direction. What are you talking about? How can you say that? Brandon, how can you possibly? Because Connor Brogdon had two. It's name a bullpen piece that doesn't have a couple of tough ones here and there. Unless you're talking about the best ever, and Connor Brogdon is not the best ever. To ever say that Connor Brogdon is now where Brandon Workman was, and don't tell me stats, because one outing of 6 earned runs in 1 inning, which is such an extreme outlier. I think that's insane. I think that's insane. Here we go. Here we go. This might shut down the stream. This might shut down the stream, fellas. Gentlemen, women. I don't know how much more I can take. Are you going to do this to me all day? Are you going to do this to me every stream? Chip Kelly saying, Brodes, I shouldn't have been fired. I don't know how to handle this. You guys are emotionally draining me. That's for damn sure. All jokes aside, thank you so much for the $2 donation, man. I really do appreciate it. Connor Brogdon had a nice start, and now he's fading. I mean, you're fading is, first off, he didn't have the sharpest bounce-back performance, but it wasn't the worst thing ever. He got hit a little bit, some weaker contact stuff and all, some dinky littleness involved. He did allow a run there. He had one bad outing since being really dominant. He's not going to be dominant forever. He might not end up being the most phenomenal bullpen piece ever, but my point is, after being so strong, he had one bad outing, and then he had an outing to follow. To make an assessment on he's now Brandon Workman, I think we're going too far. I think we're taking it to an extreme. I think we're kind of leaping and going overboard is kind of my point here with that assessment. Bro, Sixers need Greg Monroe. Here's another thing, right? Think about Greg Monroe as your secondary option behind Joel Embiid. That was once a serious thing. Norvell Pell as well. Norvell Pell, Greg Monroe, these were the options that you had when you thought that Al Horford would be that option and he flat out wasn't. You were going with the idea of Greg Monroe, which is just absolutely absurd. I'll leave you with this here because I think Andrew asked a good question, and we'll kind of end the stream on this as it is closing time. Thoughts on Zach Eflin last night? I thought he really fucking battled, man. I really did. I thought that he gave you like a really good, greasy, grindy effort. Command wasn't there, and then kind of found it for sure, you know? It was like he couldn't find the command, and then he went with some off-speed pitches, and that slider was working. The slider had some really nasty, but not early. You know, like the slider, he hung a pitch to O'Neill that should have got murdered, and it didn't. He escaped some pain there for sure, but he was able to kind of solidify himself into the game, record a bunch of strikeouts. He really earns a greasy grind for me that I really respect. Zach Eflin's just showing his growth and showing how he's adapted in this league, the mental fortitude, and just the way that afterwards he was so disgusted too. I think that there's, I can't even get my thought across because Amir Johnson steps in. But yeah, that's my thought for Zach Eflin. I thought it was a really grindy effort. Amir Johnson. Oh man, Amir Johnson was once an actual option as well. That might be, is that worse than Greg Monroe? I don't know. And then the debate of like, you know, there were some that hated Brett Brown out there so much, right? It was like, I can't believe he put in this guy over Amir Johnson. I can't believe he put in Mike Scott at the 5 over Amir Johnson. I can't believe he put Mike Scott at the 5 over Greg Monroe. Yeah. Okay. Jerk offs. Just absolute jerk offs. Thank you so much, everyone, for the fun today. We'll see if we'll do some streams later on. I don't know. We'll see if the Twitch stream's in play. Follow me on Twitter at Brodes81. New giveaway today. New giveaway that will be uploaded on my Twitter at Brodes81 within minutes of the stream ending. I want to thank everyone for having their coffee with me. You know me. I'm going to have it'll be my third cup of coffee for my post-game coffee or post-show coffee as soon as this ends. Thank you guys so much. Kyle Quinn is another one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. And we'll catch you tomorrow on Thursday. It's a special day tomorrow with the NFL draft. So thank you all. We'll see if there's a Phillies game. We don't know. Glenn will tell us that there is a good chance of rain. Good chance of rain. Might have a doubleheader tomorrow. See you guys then.